What's up, chat? Welcome back to Wednesday. Normally, we'd be getting Warhams 3 today, but I think I'm actually going to push my normally scheduled Wednesday live stream to tomorrow. We just got a lot going on. We have this random massive update, kind of out of nowhere. That includes new data sheets for Space Marines. I mean, a million new data sheets for Space Marines. All of the Ultramarine like previewed stuff has gone live. There's new Space Wolf stuff as well as new Tau Empire stuff. There's a new Detachment. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Kind of unexpected that it all dropped. I woke up this morning and was like, hold up. What is that currently happening? This is crazy. It's a pretty controversial release, obviously, for a bunch of different reasons. First of all, it's a downgrade for Tau, for sure. Tau they just copped a random nerf out of nowhere. Thanks to a drop of a new kill team set for them, and then new Space Marine stuff, in addition to new Ultramarine stuff in specific, which always gets people excited. In addition to that, the other crazy thing about it is that, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I've just seen like a lot of conflicting opinions about the new Ultramarine stuff and the efficacy of the rules. I've seen some really crazy hot takes. I think maybe, I don't know. They're pretty wild. But anyway, that's what we're going to hop into today. Well, I'll be pushing my normally scheduled Warhammer for Wednesday for tomorrow. We're talking about all the stuff going on in drama and things tomorrow. But for more immediate stuff, not immediately after the stream, but a couple hours after the stream, starting at 4 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, so it's exactly 5 hours from right now, I'm going to be playing Jensen Go from, who's playing at WCW. He's playing Orcs, I'm playing Demons. We're paired in the team tournament, and it should be fun. I don't know. That's going to be over on Twitch. I'll drop a link to my Twitch, as I always do. And also, now that we are... How come I can't find my own Twitch account? That's weird. Okay. Anyway, because we just got a new drop, I might actually end up playing that at some point. So we might give that the new Ultramarine stuff a go and just rock a game on Twitch afterwards. So it might be a long day of streaming over on Twitchies with some live gameplay. So anyway, go follow me on Twitch over there if you want to see that after the stream. Otherwise, my cat got some fuzz on me. Let's hop in. So, yeah, I talked about. So this is all the chicanery that we've got going on. Just a random huge update here. I guess we'll rip the Band-Aid off the easy one first. Let's talk about Space Wolves real quick. They got a new data sheet for Wolf Scouts, which I think is pretty cool. Now, here's the interesting thing about these. Is that they don't replace regular scouts, like Scout Armored Marines. You can still take those just fine. This is a new Phobos unit for Space Wolves specifically. They didn't, to my knowledge anyway, update what could be played in Space Wolves, which means you can just take these alongside the standard Space Marine Scouts, which, a spoiler alert, you will just take the regular Scouts. There's also some weirdness with them that I'm not 100% sure how it works. I have to double check the rules actually, because it's one of the first units that I remember seeing that has a mixed OC value. It's not the first unit that has a mixed OC value. There's plenty of those. There's like Gretchen and stuff. But it's one of the first ones I've seen that has a mixed OC value, of which one of them is 0. And I don't know if that excludes it from doing actions. I assume that it doesn't. But I want to double check, and I forgot to do this before the stream, so we're going to do it live. Which is, if true, would be absolutely disgusting. Let's see. So the action rules state that you cannot perform an action if you have an objective control characteristic of 0. I don't know if there's an instance previously where there's been a unit that has an objective control characteristic of both 1 and 0 simultaneously. Which means that it might be the case that these, if it works like a unit keyword, right? The unit has both an OC of 1 and of 0 until you lose the hunting wolf. Because you typically check OC on a per model basis, so what the OC value of a unit is doesn't matter. So I don't know what this means. I think that there is an argument to be made, and maybe this is clarified somewhere, and I don't know that. I think there's an argument to be that these guys can't do actions, which, yeah, it is. If the unit is OC0, which it is, right, because it contains one or more OC0 models, right? So I feel like I don't know that feels like a loophole to me. As soon as I saw OC0 on the hunting wolf, I was like, there's a problem here, I bet. So that I won't talk too much about that because I'm not actually 100% sure how it works. Because I don't know if this type of datasheet has ever been written before, but there is certainly a potential that this goes from being not particularly powerful to just being stone unplayable. Just an infiltrate scout unit that can't do anything. Sick. We love that. It's fucking Ripper Swarms all over again. But anyway, the datasheet itself is really wild. So it's composed of baseline 5 models plus a hunting wolf. So 6 base models. It doesn't have, as far as I can see, any attachment clauses. So to my knowledge, there's no, like, you can't put any characters in this. So I don't believe that there's any character synergies whatsoever, as far as I know. It doesn't say, like, a character can join this if it, can attach to infiltrators or something. So I don't know. If they have a character, they go to OC1? Yeah, but I don't think they can have a character, right? They have to string back to a character to gain OC1, which you can do, and that'll happen for sure. But it's like a hoop to jump through for a unit that shouldn't be jumping through a hoop, right? They should be an independent operator for sure. So that's a little bit weird. They themselves have like this sort of baseline Space Wolf top line profile, so they get additional bonus movement over what you would expect from a normal Space Marine. They go up to movement 7. They have a 7-inch scout, obviously much nicer than the 6-inch scout that you get on the regular scouts. It's much easier to set them up in a position and then go move things. It is a little bit weird. Somebody pointed out, chat, that they can have a psyker in the unit, but they do not gain the psyker keyword. A lot of weird stuff going on with these guys for sure. They have the Deadly Stalker's ability, which gives them +1 to wound if they target something that's 6 inches away from all enemy units, which honestly is actually a great ability. Now, what they don't have in comparison to regular scouts, and one of the reasons that these guys are significantly less powerful, is that they can't up down. So regular scouts, right, if they're on the battlefield, they can go into reserve at the end of your opponent's turn. They come out of strategic reserve. They hop in off their opponent's back edge and they do an action or whatever. These guys just straight up don't have that, which is a huge downside. In exchange, you're faster. You get this +1 to wound bonus. So what they are good at doing is actually just beating up on other scouts. Since all of them have AP1 4 attack combat blades, right? So they're more attacks than a standard scout. And they get potentially this bonus against other utility units. It's isolated from the rest of the army, which is pretty sweet. Doesn't the Rune Priest lead these? If there is a character that can attach them, I'm not aware of it, right? Because these are a unique unit keyword. I don't believe that there has been a Wolf Scout unit previously, unless I'm wrong. In which case somebody can correct me, I'm sure. Is OC cumulative? I don't believe so. If the Marines can get into range to do the action, they can. Otherwise, the Wolves do it. Well, that's not how actions work, right? A model doesn't perform an action. A unit performs the action, right? And if the unit has an OC characteristic of 0, to my reading, they can't do the action. So I don't know. I think it probably requires clarification. Unless, like, maybe it means that if every model in the unit has an OC characteristic of 0, they can't do an action. I guess that would probably be the most generous interpretation for sure. Which is probably the correct one. It's might just need a errata or something. It doesn't really matter that much though. In fairness, though, if the unit can perform an action, the Wolf being movement 10 is actually kind of sick. Because the unit's actually very mobile, right? Because you can have the Wolf start behind your unit and then bounce up ahead. So you can actually increase their movement characteristic by like 4 or 5 inches. The other thing, too, is that the fact that there are only 6 models means that they have 2x2 coherency, as long as you can't attach a character, which I don't think you can. Or they have 1x1 coherency, excuse me, which means you can string them really far, right? A hunting wolf is on a big oval base and moves really quickly, so their capacity to screen is pretty heavy. So there are benefits to this unit, right? They're good at fighting. They randomly as well, if we go to the weapon war gear option loadout, every single one of them has a plasma pistol. Or I guess it's yeah. They just have 5 plasma pistols, and you can take a plasma gun as well, which replaces only the pistol, which means you're always going to do it. It doesn't replace their knife. So the guy has a knife and a plasma gun. What an absolute badass. You also can take a haywire mine on a different unit, and then you can take the psyker, who's not a psyker. He's just a guy who has a thunderclap, which is a D3 shot blast weapon, strength 5, AP 1, T damage. You might take that. That's like a side grade from a plasma pistol, I guess. It like shoots more times at lower strength than AP, but it's not hazardous if you want the multi-damage profile, so it's like probably fine. Because I believe he loses his, or he can't shoot it alongside a pistol. He takes a bolt pistol. Whoop. But he has actually good in melee. He has a force weapon profile, so he loses an attack, but he gains strength and damage, and the psychic keyword, which probably doesn't matter unless he's beating up Magnus, hitting him with a stick. Here's the problem with these units. So there's a couple weird ones. Cyber Mastiff has strictly worse than Wolf Scouts, than Space Wolves. Can it work like average toughness? So average toughness isn't a roll anymore, T-Dog. It's highest toughness. Average toughness is only a thing if you are in a Deathwatch kill team. Otherwise, you always revert to highest toughness in a bodyguard model, which means non-character, basically. So if you have an attached character who's attached with the leader keyword, he doesn't count. So like Gaz doesn't increase your toughness characteristic, for example. Or like Calgar. Gaz is like a weirdly low toughness, if I remember. But like Marnie's Calgar is higher toughness than all his bodyguards for the most part. So he doesn't increase your toughness value because he's a character. Otherwise, you just look for the highest toughness value in a unit. In this case, it doesn't matter, obviously. Yeah, the OC is always tracked per model because it matters if you're that model standing on the objective. It's just weird because this is like the first time that the OC of the totality of a unit is checked, which is weird. I don't know. It's a whole thing. Hive Tyrant with guard, yeah. that's the good one, yeah. The T10 that gets reduced to fucking T7 or whatever. T8, I guess, on Tyrant guard, I think. Either way, it doesn't matter so much. But here's the thing. You ready for the kicker on this unit? I think so. There's like compared to scouts, you win some, you lose some. You do more damage, you have better guns. You lose a heavy weapon, but you gain a plasma gun, you gain plasma pistols, and you're good in melee, right? 4 base attacks, AP 1 apiece. You're +1 to wound a lot of times. You don't require Oath of Bowment realistically, and you have this extra little dude. You're faster. Your scout is higher. You have an extra guy who goes faster, and for that, you pay the low cost of 35 points. They are 50% more than a scout squad, which for a unit that is generally, while it side grades a lot of things, generally less useful. Trash. Even OC stuff aside, which is all, if it works that way, is almost certainly an oversight. I'm not gonna worry about it that much. That points value is too high for this unit. The unit does a lot of damage. It's good, useful in a utility sense. There's a lot of cool stuff it could do, but 105 points for this. I was looking at this data sheet and I was like, well, they're basically incursors, right? They have like fewer ranged attacks, but they're plasma guns. Like that's good. They gain like a ton of forward operation, right? Infiltrate and scout versus just scout. They have the same combat or a side grade combat. Cursors are 1 less attack, but have sustained 1. So they're even a little bit better in combat, but they lose army support. Okay, fair enough. I bet if they're around the same cost, they're going to be good. Nope, 25 points more than incursors. The same cost as infiltrators, but you don't get Omni Scramblers. So I was like, welp, that's unfortunate. I don't think these guys are particularly good. If you drop their cost significantly, they go to 85 or 90 points, I think this unit's actually very interesting. There's a lot of really, really snazzy stuff you can do with them. At 105, they like the 70 to 110 point category in Space Marines and Space Wolves in specific, because you have things at that point like 5-man Thunderwolf squads that start to get in that range. You have like 3-man or excuse me, 3-man Thunderwolves. You have like 3-man Headhunters with or without Hunting Wolves. There's like a bunch of units right in that same category that they're competing with, and they're just not as useful as those, right? They don't do as much damage. They don't have the same level of army support. And that sucks. If these guys were cheaper, I think they'd unironically be cool and playable, but they're just so expensive. They're crazy expensive. They're essentially 21 points a model. You can, I guess, assume that they're like 20 points a model, and they have a 5-point scout wolf, I guess. There is another weird thing you can do where you can take them in 12s, so you can stack 2 of them together and take them in a big unit. That makes them, unfortunately, they do double their points value, so they get no discount for doing that, and they randomly lose some weapons. They can only take 1 Rune Priest Scald, the Thunderclap guy, and they can only take 1 Plasma Gun guy, regardless of their unit size. And they can only take 1 Haywire Mine. So you pay twice as many points for a less than half as good unit. However, you do get an Instigator Bolt Carbine, but I don't know if you have Covering Fire. I don't think you do. Right? So you can take the Instigator, but you don't get the shoot and scoot from it? Unless I'm crazy. I think that would have to be noted somewhere. So there's like no reason to ever take a 12-man. It's especially because you can't attach characters. There's nothing where we're gonna scout and hammer blow this unit of guys with +1 wound into your opponent on top of 1, because you're not delivering anything, right? It's just some guys. So that seems very bad. I don't know. Make them cheaper, please. I would love that. And that's what's up. So let's go. They get the Bolt Carbine. Yeah. Let's go. What a time. Listen, it shoots 24 inches, okay? It's AP2. It's good, we swear. So that's Wolf Scouts, chats. Not impressed by the Wolf Scouts. Shall we talk for a moment about how Tau Empire got randomly fucked? First of all, there's a lot of people, I think, in the comment section beforehand bemoaning the fact that Tau have received a nerf. To some extent, I think, in fairness, like, it's not, I mean, it's mostly bad. Their codex, or their faction, is now statistically slightly worse than it was. You do get some benefits for that, and it's not a huge change, but it certainly is a change. That being the release of the new Stealth Battlesuit datasheet. So this replaces the existing Stealth Battlesuit squad, which, the kind of out of nowhere, to be honest, which is a little bit weird. So it's a new datasheet. It looks very similar, but it is slightly different. I'll rip the Band-Aid off. The big difference is this. They have a unit composition of 5. Full stop, end of story. You can no longer take 3 stealth battlesuits at a time. So a lot of times, like, obviously, you would take 3 of 3 stealth battlesuits. You get 3 infiltrators, 3 drops, and then 3 separate spotters with this. Now, you can basically get 2 units for not quite. They are. You do get a discount on the per model cost, but it's 2 units for, wait for it, 110 points each, 220. Whereas previously, I think you were spending 80 on them, right? So it was 240 for 3 units. Now you get 2 units for 220. So you save like 20 points. You get more models, but you get less spotters, and that's really what you care about with these guys. Now, in fairness, the 5 model unit, it does give up blast, which is awkward. And it is going to be, like, in totality, harder to kill than the 3-man. So there's more often than not, you're going to poke one dude out. You do the Tau thing where he sticks the tip of his gun around a corner, and you draw a line of sight with that. And then they eat one shot, you pull that guy, and then you call it a day. However, if you will note, the Shasvra no longer gains a shield drone. So he himself, that guy, is easier to kill. He gets a marker drone and a gun drone. He also has a pistol, so you can shoot, and I believe you can also spot while in melee. Just, I guess actually, I'm gonna fact check. I think you just have to be eligible to shoot, right? It doesn't care if you're engaged. Yeah. Observer unit that has not been selected to shoot and is eligible to shoot. Yeah, okay. So you can still spot while in melee because you're eligible to shoot while you're engaged with a pistol. So that's something, I guess. A little bit of a side grade, I suppose. But he is easier to kill. He no longer gets battlesuit support systems at all. He's just a dude. However, you do get an additional fusion blaster. So that's nice. So you can fusion blast twice. But obviously, like, the purpose of stealth battlesuits is to be an incredibly efficient, inexpensive utility unit that can observe things. And having larger units that are more costly means you get less overall units of them. So you have less observation, less reroll ones, and individually they're more valuable, right? So you don't want to throw them away as much. You can only spot the engaged unit. Well, I don't think that's true. There's nothing that requires the target of your observation to be ineligible to target for ranged attacks, right? You just choose something. You choose a visible unit. You can like spot lone operatives, which is always the weirdest thing. If you have like the combi weapon lieutenant like sitting out in the middle of nowhere, and you're 72 inches away across the table, but you can draw a line of sight to him, you're like, I'll spot that guy. You couldn't shoot him with a gun, but you could spot him. Pretty weird. That pisses me off with Bellicor all the time. The marker drone does. I think the marker drone, because they don't have assault baseline, right? The marker drone allows you to advance and spot, right? But if you play them in Mont Cod, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you can still spot, and it doesn't make it matter that it grants you marker light because you already have marker light, but it allows you to advance and do things. Because otherwise you would have to have assault somewhere on your data sheet. So, like, I don't know. It's not, like, super useless. It does suck, though, that you don't get the choice of your drones, because the shield drone was very relevant. So, they went from being, they were, like, 20 to 30 points per model, right, previously, which is a lot, but, like, you paid for the unit, right? You pay for the unit in the data sheet rather than the individual models. They went from that to being, I guess they're 21 now, 22, I guess, on the nose, points per model. So you got a little bit of, I'm going to double check my math on that. How many points were they? They were 80, right? Yeah, they were 80. So they were like, what, 27 points per model? So you're getting 7 points or 5 points per model discount, but the unit is worse, and you have to take them in fives, and you don't have an option, right? This isn't a choice. This isn't, well, if I have extra points, I can upgrade a stealth battlesuit team from a 3 to a 5. You can only take 5s, which feels really bad. I think it would have been interesting, probably, if it was like the unit composition is 3 to 5, and you could choose not to take the full 5. But in my estimation, it feels like a unit of 5 is going to be dramatically worse than a unit of 3, right? You're paying 30 more points for it. You're paying, you're restricting space to get more activations of the spotting effect. So that's chat, I guess. Annoying or sold in 3s, so a lot of people have 9. Yeah, that's super shitty too, for sure. They used to be sold like individual blister packs, right? And now people are gonna have to like go find individuals, which is pretty obnoxious. So I don't know. Now I do think that to some extent, and I don't think that this was a balance change whatsoever. I think that they there is a couple other changes, I guess. I should mention before we go too far. They do have grenades, which is relevant, right? They're an infiltrate unit with a relatively fast movement, so they will be able to use grenades more often than not, and it makes them a better screener for Calyon lists, because you can throw photon grenades at people now. So you do get a little bit, right? You can spot a melee. You get 2 fusion blasters. It's okay. You can grenade, so you can like run up, grenade, double fusion blaster, call it a day. Maybe you get some damage out of them. I don't know. Yeah. I do like that they have a note about a homing beacon token. Isn't this the homing beacon token? It's the guy holding the thing, right? Maybe it's magnetizable. Grab it out there. But to be fair, there were a lot of people saying, I don't know if Tau deserved this nerf. I think they do, in fairness. Again, I don't think it was a balance update, but I do think that while they didn't perform at World Championships, which actually surprised me quite a bit. But I think that Tau might be, because you're a one-dimensional game plan, I think it might just be that if you are literally at the upper echelon, the highest possible skill level 40K, you can play around what they've got going on. But I think Tau have been overperforming this season quite a bit. I'm definitely not upset to see them get a little bit of a hit here, right? Their lists are basically going to either lose a stealth battlesuit team or lose like 60 points, which is certainly something. That said, I don't think Tau deserve it as much as other factions. I'm looking at you, Eldar, maybe Adeptus Mechanicus, but we'll see. I guess I'm not happy about it in that I would rather have seen something similar happen to different factions. But I do think that Tau probably had something coming down the pipeline, right? They were consistently top 3 performing factions every weekend that we've talked about 40K in the last like month and a half. There's a homing beacon token in addition to the folded one. Oh, that's kind of cool. I like the idea too. I kind of, I don't know. I enjoy like little funny modeling opportunities. And I like the idea of like magnetizing the guy's arm. So like when you put the token down, he puts the thing away. He drops the little teleport homer on the ground. I think that's cute. I do like the models though, to be fair. I think the vast improvement in how the squad looks. I think the old dopey models are kind of silly. And this one is a happy medium between the original stealth battlesuit models and the more recent ones from like 2008 or something. This model's like 20 years old. I remember when those models came out. It was wild. Where are the Tyranid nerfs? Great question. Tyranids, yeah. The nerf that you get for playing Tyranids is that you have to play Tyranids. All right, chat. Let's talk about the big 1,000-pound blue armored elephant in the room, which is that Ultramarines basically have a faction supplement now. They don't really, but they are the Space Marine faction pack is becoming Ultramarines the supplement. It's fucking wild. So, the new data sheets have been fully released. We can do a very quick review of them. We already talked about them when they first got dropped a couple weeks ago. Here they are. This is Marnius Calgar in the armor of Antilochus, and I believe as well that we have points for them. Armor of Antilochus, Marnius Calgar is 140 points, which I think is basically on the money where everyone assumed he would be. If you compare him to like other 100 to 120 point characters, he's slightly better because his leadership ability is incredible and he gives you command points. However, you can't point him near the OG Marnius Calgar, the Marnius Gravius Calgar, because that unit's fucking nuts. One of the most poorly considered unit data sheet designs in 40K. So they just pointed him 60 points less, which I think is right around where people said he would be. I think somebody pointed him at 80 points less. I was like, that's not right. But either way, he's move 6 Terminator. He's T6. Very nice. We have a higher than average Terminator defensive profile. 2+4+ save, 6 wounds. No bodyguards, which is the thing. So he loses his ability to get a 4+ feel no pain. Otherwise, he hits the same and has the same abilities. Except for Deep Strike. He can Deep Strike. The big thing is that you can join Terminators with him and then he can Deep Strike with them. That's about it. Honestly, who cares? No, you're not going to play this guy. You're going to play 60 points more for 2 Victrix Honor Guard with the Gravis Calgar, who's significantly stronger, right? You get 2+ save bodies with a 4+ invulnerable save. You get a 4+ feel no pain on Calgar. You get 10 more 2 damage melee attacks. You're just going to buy that and then call it a day. So this data sheet, I think, outside of maybe smaller games where you can't fit the full 200 for the big guy, or in weird specific situations where you're playing Terminators, I don't know. Throw them in the trash. Cato Sicarius. This is the new version. Gives your unit he has a slightly enhanced version of OG Cato Sicarius' reactive move. It works on anyone in the unit rather than just himself. Previously, it would always check distance to Cato, the character, not the unit. Otherwise, he's basically a captain. He has a cool Blade Champion sort of offensive profile. Either he can swing for 3 damage devastating, 9 attacks, sustained 1, or 6 attacks at AP2, 2 damage with precision. A lot of times I think it's a sweep. It's a choice between the devastating and the sweep. But if you're swinging at Ultra Space Marines, maybe the 6 attacks with 2 damage is better. I haven't done the math on it. You can also heroically intervene him for free, which I guess is fine. He loses the scout that the other guy gets, the other Cato Sicarius gets, and he loses the I think he gives his unit assault as well, which is honestly a really good benefit. The big thing here, he can join only Victrix Honor Guard, and he can join alongside Marneus Calgar, so you can make like a huge 10-man sort of death, like Doom Ball, where you have Cato Sicarius plus Calgar plus 6 Victrix Honor Guard plus his own 2 Victrix Honor Guard, which I think is kind of the idea of this dude. But so he's like a captain who dual attaches, essentially, which is like pretty neat. And then we have the Victrix Honor Guard themselves. There's They're company heroes with upside, basically. They have a 2+ save rather than a 3+ save. They have the same ability. You're just -1 to be wounded, full stop, if you're being led. They also have a blood surge movement of D6 inches. And they have like a bunch of special epic hero attachments, or not attachments, they're just guys that can go in the unit. They're also 5 base AP2 2 damage melee attacks, and they actually shoot okay because they have strength. They're AP1 2 damage with their range attacks as well. So they can have both the Chapter Ancient and the Company Chapter Champion. Both are epic heroes, so they can only take 1 in each army, and you can only take the unit up to 6. So it's either 4 Victrix Honor Guard in these guys, or it's 6 Victrix Honor Guard. And the Ancient, or the Company Champion gives you a twin-linked 2 damage, like precision attack, which is great. So he just hits much harder than the regular Victrix Honor Guard. And then the Ancient has a once per game +1 strength and attack characteristic. So you can go to strength 6 on everyone with 6 base attacks. Pretty good. I don't know. It seems fine. That also affects your characters too. So if you like Finest Hour or Captain at the same time, he goes to like 10 attacks, or 9 attacks with the Power Fist, I guess. It's pretty wild. Let's talk about points values for these guys, chat, because that's the real big thing. How many points is a Victrix Honor Guard unit? First of all, if you take a 3-man, they are 43 points per model, 130 points for 3. Little pricey. However, if you take 6, for whatever reason, you get a 50-point cost reduction on the last 3 guys. So the first 3 are 130, the second 3 are 80 points, which means you're basically never gonna take the 3 model one, because you might as well take Company Heroes at that point. They have more wounds. They have better shooting. They're significantly worse in melee, and they're easier to kill. But you save like 25 points in exchange for an extra model. However, what we can do is for 210, 35 points per model, we can just bring, which is like less than a Terminator, by the way, in a lot of cases, right? They're basically a Terminator. They trade the toughness for an invuln save for a wound, and then better melee than basically any Terminator profile in the game. Let's go. Okay. And a better gun. Okay. And just blood surge. All right. Cool. And a cool character, guys. Sure. All right. Eat your heart out, Terminators. So 35 points per model. You can take 6, put a big captain in them, and they go crazy, which I think is going to be basically the only use case for these Victrix Honor Guard. 35 points per model for them is incredible. I'm surprised it wasn't at least 240 for the 6 model unit. And I think, the 3 model unit feels a little expensive potentially. The 6 model unit feels a little bit undercosted, maybe. I don't know, but we'll see how things shake out. You are trying to punch through 24 2+ save wounds with -1 to be wounded, which means they're tough. Their low toughness characteristic usually gets offset quite a bit because everything wins them on 3s most of the time. Most weapons win them on 4s, and then you're trying to bump into a 2+ save with Armor of Contempt access too. If you're taking the Marneus Calgar, the OG Marneus Calgar, he also gets 2 additional 3 model units into the 3 wound models into the unit, so you can eat at least 1 hit on an invuln save before you lose that Victrix Honor Guard. So this unit seems really, really good, chat. Super duper good, and I think there's a bunch of ways you can play them. Obviously you can play them with Marneus Calgar. You can do the whole thing where you take Calgar and Cato Sicarius. You can take OG Sicarius, who just gives them scouts. You can scout them up the table. You can take Uriel Ventress to get yourself a rampant ingress threat out of Deep Strike. Because they're Tacticus armored models as well, you can fit 6 of them plus a captain or an equivalent character into an impulsor, which feels like a lot. I don't know. That's a crazy amount of output into impulsor. I mean, they're like extra super hardcore Blade Guard champions, or Blade Guard veterans, excuse me. So, like the ways that Ultramarines can make this unit work is crazy, and I think most of their special unique characters, as well as their the bonuses they can point at them, are going to be huge. The downside, obviously, you run into the Blade Guard veteran problem where their attack, like their actual strength and AP characteristics are not phenomenal. So if they are your only melee threat, because they don't naturally have any like wound rerolls besides the 1 champion guy, the 2 attack champion guy, you are looking at wounding like a lot of higher toughness stuff on 5s and just fishing. Now they do have a million attacks, and they can get down to 4s to wound against T11 if you have the ancient in your unit. And a lot of their output's gonna be coming from characters anyway. But I do think that you have the capacity to run into like the Thunderwolf cavalry problem, where you're like, I have so many guys, they're hard to kill, they're fast. I mean, these guys they're of average movement characteristic, but you are playing Space Marines and you can have advance and charge wherever you want. And transport access and, rapid ingresses like we talked about. But you bump into a bunch of T10 stuff and you're like, well, I'm winning on 6s. Maybe I'll oath win on 5s. And then like you just hope for the best. So I do think that there is the potential that they aren't going to be kind of quite as crazy if you're focusing entirely on them. But for 3 units of these guys, they're 210 each, 630. And then you maybe pay another 400 in characters, and you get characters for all of them. You're only down half your army for 3 units of these dudes. Take a couple impulsors, and the rest of your list can be laser cannons. And then you can sort of fulfill that issue, or alleviate that issue. So I think it's going to be really good, chat. Now that is not the only thing, because for whatever fucking reason. And this makes me a little bit sad. And to be fair, I don't think it's competitively going to be the wildest thing ever. But it's the principle of the thing. Ultramarines got a bespoke detachment. I thought that the reason for the releases like Emperor's Shield and Spearpoint Task Force was to give the other non-Ultramarine compliant chapters a reason to be played. But nah. Go fuck yourself. We have the Blade of Ultramar. New detachment for Ultramarines specifically. You're a fucking White Scars player, get wrecked. You get a weird, an upgrade from Stormlands Task Force. It is what it is. But Ultramarines also get their own thing too. They can't be left out in the cold. You couldn't possibly leave them with only the broadest selection of epic heroes of the entire game and a new release that included one of the best bespoke Space Marine units we've seen. They also get a detachment. Okay. Sure, man. Why not? Why wouldn't we spend more development time building things for Ultramarines instead of literally any other faction in the game? Even a different chapter. We don't have anything for fucking Crimson Fists. They didn't even get they have 1 character, they didn't even get a detachment, but we got one for Ultramarines, so that's good. I think, to be fair, there's also 3 more coming. Yeah. Well, there's 3 more, but I think they're meant for Space Marines. I don't know if they're meant for Ultramarine specifically. From what I heard, they were just for Space Marines. I don't know if they were Ultramarine specific, but I don't know. I mean, Space Marines are just like, you're drowning in the amount of content you're getting as a Space Marine player. Which is what it is. That's like complaining about Space Marines getting more content is like complaining that water is wet at this point. So it's like complaining that the coverage of the Warhammer official live stream isn't perfect, that you can't hear the player mics. At this point, it's like spitting in the wind, but it's still something that we're going to do here because it's funny. Let's talk about what this one has going on. So it's a Gladius Task Force Redux. And it is very much a side grade from Gladius Task Force. It feels very much that you can play either this or you can play Gladius Task Force, both of which are going to be pretty solid. The cool thing about this is that you get 3 uses of combat doctrines, right? Just like Gladius Task Force. In Gladius Task Force, once per game, you can choose each combat doctrine. You're good. However, if you have Marneus Calgar on the battlefield, you can, when you select a combat doctrine, you can go back to a previous doctrine. Now, importantly, it requires Marneus Calgar to be on the battlefield, so he can't be dead. This is unlike many of the other character-specific buffs in the other detachments, where it's like, if you have, well, I guess most of them affect their own units. So I guess it is basically like that. This one is actually slightly better, I guess. Like, Lysanders is like reroll wounds on Lysander's unit. Like Canik Var is like Canik Var can choose a new target. So I guess it is very, very similar. If he's on the battlefield, so he's not in a transport, he's not in reserve, he's not dead, right? You can choose you can redo a doctrine. I think, I mean, that's great. First of all, that's phenomenal. That's the reason that this is 3 of your command phases. It's not just each command phase you can choose one, and you can only select each one once, because otherwise you naturally run out of 3. This is 3 command phases. You get a doctrine. As long as it's Calgar's here, it could be any doctrine with no restrictions. Otherwise, it has to be a doctrine you haven't selected yet. Here's why I think this is really cool and fun, and I think people are glossing over it a little bit. First of all, it means you can assault doctrine or devastator stuff that's in transports, which, if you are playing classic Gladius Task Force, you have no way to do once you've selected that doctrine already. So let's say, oh, we have to choose Devastator Doctrine because it gets all of our Vindicators online top of 1 or bottom of 1 or whatever, right? My opponent's moved out. If I call Devastator this turn, I could shoot with all of my tanks. Great. Now, I have a Hellblaster brick with all the fixins, right? I don't know. Maybe we have a Lieutenant plus Storm of Fire combo in there or something. I can't put that in Devastator Doctrine for the Enhanced Storm of Fire with by using Adaptive Strategy because he's in a transport. I can't target them with strats in my command phase. However, Calgar can just be like, no, it's fine, guys. Do Devastator Doctrine again. More importantly, let's say we have a bunch of Impulsors full of Victrix Honor Guard. And early in the game, we used Assault Doctrine to push our guys in. Hey, Bucket of Steel Cable, thank you for the follow. Or for
Bucket
the
of
follow.
Steel
For the
Cable donated $13.99 through Super Chat. Ultramarines get a bespoke detachment that's an upgrade of the best detachment, and Fists get one that doesn't work with 66% of its bespoke data sheets and is an upgrade to the...
Is it an upgrade to the worst detachment? I guess it is. It is weird that Ultramarines, I mean, it makes sense, right? Because Ultramarines are, I mean, they are the Gladius Task Force people, right? They're meant to be like tactically flexible. That's their whole thing. What I didn't like is that like Imperial Fist got Emperor's Shield. You're like, okay, cool. And then, which was an upgrade to First Company Task Force, and then Iron Hands also got that. What do you mean Iron Hands got that? You have 2, like, basically Iron Hands pilled detachments, and you chose neither of them. That's super weird. Why didn't we get an Iron Storm Spearhead upgrade? I don't know. I do think that this is a legitimate side grade, though. I'm talking about reasons that I think it's better, but you do lose some important stuff. So I don't like. I think Emperor's Shield is a better use of the slot as a unique detachment, because you took something that you would never ever play in a million years and you made it good in one specific build. I think, and having played a bunch of games with Emperor's Shield now, I think there's one double Terminator build that's really good, and or at least I don't know if it's gonna like win a super major or anything tomorrow, unless somebody does that, in which case, fuck yeah, let's go. But I do think that it's very viable at the mid tables, right? You'll rock an RTT with that, you'll rock a smaller GT, that's totally fine. And it's very unique, right? It's Terminator centric, and I think that's really cool. So I like how Emperor Shield came out more than I think this will, because I think this is just like you'll play a slightly different version of Ultramarines. And I don't even think that's going to be the most competitively viable version of Ultramarines, to be perfectly honest. So I don't know. I think it's okay. Giving them another crack at a detachment that nobody plays, which is why they should have done Anvil Siege Force for one of those factions, and they dropped the ball. Giving them another crack at stuff that people already don't play, I think, is more interesting to me than doing what this is, which is just upgrading Gladius Task Force, or side grading Gladius Task Force, which is a detachment that everyone plays all the time, so who cares? Crimson Fists chapter got nerfed so Ultramarine could fly. Yeah, it would be cool if Crimson Fist got a like a First Company Task Force equivalent. it is a little bit weird. And to your point, Bucket, that the Emperor's Shield detachment has no buffs for Pedro Cantor. It's Lysander explicit. She's like, come on, really? I can't put Pedro Cantor into a Sternguard veteran squad and get like some cool bonus with his like +1 attack effects and stuff. The fuck? Especially because like veterans is supposed to be Crimson Fist's thing. I don't really know why it's Imperial Fists. Imperial Fists are like artillery and siege equipment. I don't know why we're the Terminator people now. I don't know. It would have been much better, I think, to give Imperial Fists a Anvil Siege Force equivalent and then turn around and give Emperor's Shield to Pedro Cantor, but we didn't do that, so it is what it is. And also, Tor Garradon has nothing to do in the detachment. He's really good. He's probably still worth playing because he's like a Chad, but he has no he's basically zero synergy. You just take him because Tor Garradon's good. You don't take him because Tor Garradon does anything particularly interesting. Whereas Lysander's like the Terminator guy who buffs all your Terminators in the Terminator detachment, who has a special ability that he gets for his Terminators when he's taken in the Terminator list. And you're like, all right, I get it. But Tor Garradon's like, what's up, guys? I'm just vibing. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird situation. I love him. It's annoying because I love Emperor Shield so much. But it does feel a little bit, I don't know, half-assed, I guess. Anyway, let's talk about this one. So, yeah, being able to recall a doctrine, I think, is much better than people give it credit for. Because you will, generally speaking, you don't really care that much about tactical doctrine. Like, you're like, all right, I guess I'll do tactical doctrine like Battle Round 5. So my tank can fall back and shoot. Whereas realistically, if you are needing to use tactical doctrine, you will simply use your adaptive strat to put yourself in tactical doctrine for the one thing that needs it that turn. Because you very rarely need tactical doctrine for more than one or two things. However, very often you're either built to Devastator twice early or Assault twice in the mid-game. And being able to do that for free without spending any additional command points and to do it on things that you couldn't normally target with stratagems, actually really strong. So yeah, that's what's up with that. There's some enhancements. I think they're all just normal. Armor of Antoninus, excuse me, is just Artificer Armor. Oath of McCrag is just Honor Vehement. Student of the Codex is just whatever the one that does this. You can choose Tactical Doctrine to be active for your unit if the bear is on the battlefield in your command phase. Cool. And Veteran of Behemoth is just Storm of Fire. Or, excuse me, not Storm of Fire. Fire Discipline. So they didn't even give him any special enhancements. Whatever. Moving on. Stratagems. They have traded, I think the only difference here is that they have traded plus fight on death for a -1 to wound effect. And the thing that people pointed out is like, it's kind of weird that we got Victrix Honor Guard, which are like a super aggro kind of tanky melee unit, and we lost fight on death in this attachment. Now, obviously, you can still just play Gladius Task Force. You lose the cool enhanced combat doctrine effect, but this is the side grade. You lose an automatic 2 CP fight on death, and obviously a lot of times you'll be taking this with Guilliman. Guilliman's crazy with the fight on death because you charge him, you knock him over, he fights, he kills you, and then he respawns, and then he does it again. It's like wild. So the fight on death is a big loss. However, I saw a lot of people. I saw some. There was a take I saw that was like, this strategy was bad because Victrix Honor Guard are almost always already -1 to be wounded. Here's the thing, chat. This is Adeptus Astartes units. You use it on anything. You can use it on fucking Vindicators or Land Raiders. It's shooting or fight phase after an enemy unit selected a target on anything in your army to give it a transhuman effect. -1 to be wounded if the strength is greater than or equal to your toughness characteristic. So it makes las cannons wound Land Raiders on 5s. I think this means that rather than focusing on the new units, which is a little weird, and maybe, I think it's thrown people off that Ultramarines got this crazy good melee unit and then a detachment that doesn't really benefit them. I think you play this with like tanks and stuff. You play Vindicators, you play Land Raiders, You play aggressive, like big, beefy boys who will not only make use of multiple instances of Devastator Doctrine, but also love to be -1 to be wounded. So you take like the old Gladius Task Force Ultramarine build where it was like Calgar, Gilliman, 3 Vindicators, and like 2 Lancer or 2 Ballistic Dreadnoughts or whatever, and you just play that. And you have multiple defensive stratagems now. You have Smoke, AOC, and Tactical Foresight all strapped together. Plus, you can Devastator Doctrine like every turn. That's crazy. Otherwise, it's identical to Gladius Task Force. So weirdly, I think you don't play Ultramarines with like a lot of their bespoke units. You just play the characters, then you play a bunch of tanks. That's what it feels like to me. I do think that there is like certainly some play for like honor guard and stuff inside transports. I think the interaction where you can assault doctrine for multiple turns out of while within transports is super powerful. I think people are overlooking that, but this stratagem I think is much better than people give it credit for too. Yeah. So anyway, student of the Codex is no longer captain specific. Oh, was it previously too? Okay, I guess. I mean, that was the enhancement that literally no one took. So I'm actually not surprised that it's not as useful. Because you could do it, or you can just pay a CP to be in Tactical Doctrine. And it only works on that unit. So if it's, and it's like, there's so many riders, right? It only works on that unit. It does a thing that a different stratagem could do. And if you use it, it overrides all your other doctrines for that unit, right? So if you're like, oh, I need this to fall back and charge my unit, my Victrix Honor Guard unit back in next turn, so I'll use it now, and then you can't honor the chapter on those guys for +1 AP because you're no longer in Assault Doctrine, for example. It's, I don't know, it's a weird... It's a very strange like enhancement. I think if it was like 15 points, your unit can fall back and shoot and charge, you'll be like, all right. But it's like 15 points and your unit can turn into Tactical Doctrine a lot. I guess it's like you can proactively Tactical Doctrine to get the enhanced reactive move, maybe, but I don't know. That feels like you need the stars to align a little bit for that to matter. Not that it's bad, but anyway, that's the new Ultramarine drop, chat. I don't know if I'm that excited about it. I think it's good. I think it offers you a slightly different version of sort of normal Ultramarines play. But I also I don't know if it's better in an infantry-focused army than standard Gladius Task Force, or even in some cases Stormlands Task Force, which just assault doctrines permanently, right, and gets a better reactive move. So I don't know. Anyway, chat, I kind of want to build a list. Should we build a list? Let's pull up our new recruit here. I'm interested in what we can make work in, I don't even know if I necessarily want to play, this goes up by ones, really? Want to play, let me give this a little, ooh, there you go. The new Ultramarine Detachment. I think I'm kind of into Stormlands. If we're focusing on Victrix Honor Guard, we have to proxy Victrix probably. Is there a 210 point legend somewhere? Is anything 210 points? Oh, Grey Knight Terminators, perfect. Those are our Victrix Honor Guard, chat. So the interesting thing here, and the one part I'm a little bit worried about here is that we don't have access to +1 to wound on a stick, except for Oath of Moment, right? But which kind of requires that we take both shooting and melee, and then the shooting is Oath of Moment agnostic, so that we can get work out of the get rid of this stuff. I guess we need Agents of the Imperium because if we're proxying them, so that we get work out of Oath of Moment on the Victrix, so we can punch into T10 plus or T12 with the Victrix Honor Guard. We take Calgar, OG Calgar. We take Gilliman, And we need 2 captains for these 3 things. So we can take OG Cato Sicarius, who gives these units Scout. And we can take Uriel Ventress. I don't think you can attach lieutenants to them, so we'll probably just do these 2. And then we get a unit out of Deep Strike, and we get a unit that scouts up. So we scout up a unit. We have another unit that just runs around by themselves. And then we have Gilliman sort of in the back there. We could take a transport for Sicarius's unit, which he will confer scout to the transport, right? Because the entire unit has scout when you enter into a dedicated transport. So we can put him into an impulsor and then scout the impulsor. And the cool thing is that with these bricks, we also we've completed our requirements for characters, right? Everything from here on is utility and action. So we go I guess the other thing we could do is we could put one in a Storm Raven gunship, I guess. It's actually kind of sick. But having an impulsor too lets us reactive move back into it. So I think with that unit anyway. So I think that's going to be useful. Where the fuck is my stuff? Here we go. So we take an impulsor and we scout the impulsor up in the middle, and then that's a bunker that we can reactive move into with the non-Calgar unit. We could also do that with Land Raiders, but I think Land Raiders get a little expensive. And then I think for shooting, we probably want Lancers, because Lancers need less support, right? We don't need Oath of Moment to get work out of Lancers because they're high AP and have floating rerolls to begin with. I'm a little bit worried about our capacity to kill screening units, but it might just be that we're charging them. And then we want utility, which is probably JPI or Vanguard, I guess. I'm on kind of a Vanguard kick right now. It's double. Oh, we want an intercessor for the backline because we're gonna leave. Where's the intercessor squad in battle line? An intercessor for the backline because we're gonna leave the backline. We need an early game disruption that isn't necessarily a Victrix Honor Guard, right? So we go 1 JPI. And then we have 80 points left, which is a scout squad. Feels a little light on utility. I do almost wonder if we cut one of these down to a smaller size and save 80 to get another scout squad. Because if we cut one of these down to the 130 version, we are overpaying. Maybe we even cut the. I don't know if I want to cut any one of these because they're all really useful. Because so Sicarius can push up, right? That can be our first the first wave, right? Is the Sicarius unit because they're naturally faster. Then we can follow it up with Calgar's unit, which is tankier, and at the same time we can rapid ingress Vect onto the from Uriel Ventress. So you're basically just overpowering your opponent with just serried waves of enemies. And I guess realistically, if we do need to clear screens, the squads themselves actually shoot okay, right? They have 12 2-damage gunshots, and Calgar is shooting another 4 twin linked. So you do have random utility clearing with the units. It's kind of weird they have a 2-damage bolt gun just naturally. That sort of blows my mind. These guys are also, they shoot a bunch of times, right? They have Iron Hail, Icarus, Twin Stubber, or Twin Stormbolter. So they shoot 14 times. And if we wanted to as well, we probably shouldn't, but it could be something that we do. You could take Iron Hail Sky Talent on this guy, and then he shoots 22 attacks. So you could actually oath little things and then just burn them away with the vehicles rather than attacking with the infantry. So that's probably a solid early start. The other thing you could do is you could upgrade these guys to incursors too, which are a little bit more offensive, but I think just having, these guys with combat knives is probably what we rock them with. Seems good. Could add a missile launcher maybe. But I don't know if it's necessary. It's combat knives. Oh, we zero that out and we take combat knives because they can advance and charge, and then a chainsword on the sergeants. So they have 16 attacks, which isn't too bad. That's a Victrix list anyway. You can have more than one Victrix Honor Guard? Sure can. Sure can, bro. The only restriction is that you can only have one of the special unit upgrades. So there are 2 special boys, the Chapter Ancient and the Champion. Those are restricted to 1 per army. However, the rest of the unit is totally unrestricted. You can have up to 6. So we have to choose where these guys end up, the Ancient and the Champion. And that's a great question. That's a really good sort of discussion to have. I guess the other thing, too, in this list is if we consider whether we want a... it's probably not necessary that we have a bodyguard for Guilliman, because we have the intercessors, right? They can like sort of follow up later on. And then we also have the... once the battle is joined, Guilliman's going to be vibing with the Victrix Honor Guard, and they're super hard to kill, so it's probably fine. But in the early game, it means that you have to play him a little bit cagier, potentially. So that's another place we could go with this style of list. That would probably, if I were to cut down, honestly, does Guilliman or does Calgar need the full brick? I kind of think he doesn't. I almost wonder if we take a 3-man with him, and then we buy we get for the points we get on Combi Lieutenant, and there's 20 more points at that point, which I don't know if we can do anything with, but it's something. I don't think there's like a solid upgrade we get with that. I don't know. I have to think about it. That might be worth the game a playthrough to just see if the lone operative is worth it versus the extra 3 guys. It does make Guilliman like super hard to kill if you're punching through 24 wounds before you get to him, or I guess 27 because you eat 1 Victrix Honor Guard first too. So it does like sort of compound his defensive stat line. But I don't know. We also have 2. We have Blood Surge moves, 1 million Blood Surge moves, and we have 2 reactive moves, right? Because Sicarius has his, and then we also have 1 for CP. So there's going to be a lot of situations, and there's probably an argument to be made to take the Shield Dome instead of the 8 additional shots with this guy, just so that we can play this more aggressively and then reactive move into it with Sicarius. Oh, an enhancement on Lieutenant. Yeah, for sure. Gravguard, New Kato, Uriel, Victrix Honor Guard, Vindicator ×3, Incursion's Tomb 2, Combi Lieutenant, Impulsor. New Kato, Uriel, Victrix Honor Guard. Oh, if we cut Guilliman. So the thing I'm worried about without Guilliman is that you end up, in this detachment in specific, is that you end up not hitting hard enough, right? Because you're basically your whole army is strength 5 AP2 damage, right? So if you run into a profile that isn't that's gonna like beat that, then you're up Ship Creek. I wonder if there's a universe where you play this in Firestorm, actually. You lose, like, you don't have an advance in charge anywhere, but you get Champion of Humanity. Probably not that great though. Champion of Humanity on this unit seems amazing. I'd be like strength 6 attacks, AP2 2 damage, unmodifiable. Get fucked. And I can give myself +1 to wound for a CP. The downside is the speed, I think. They end up being slow. You get Lance. Not in Stormlance Task Force yet. You can't Lance in Stormlance on Victrix Honor Guard. In Gladius Task Force, you can play that. But in Stormlance specifically, I think you probably need Robo to Guilliman. But you could rock this in Gladius Task Force. And play probably down Guilliman. So you only get 1 oath target. I would be interested in playing these guys with the multiple oath targets, though. I think that it ends up being... I think that there's a natural... It's kind of the old thing that used to happen with Guilliman, where because your front line was Calgar plus Honor Guard, which is like so tough to kill that it would take so much work to get rid of him, it was a natural through line to play him and Guilliman, because you would end up sort of having these multiple waves of really difficult to kill models. The other thing we could do is cut the Sicarius unit, right? Because the Sicarius unit is relatively expensive. It's almost 370 if you include the transport. And I do like the play with him and the transport, where you push it like aggressively. But it is only one transport with him, and maybe it's unnecessary. And you could take more guns and more utility instead. The stealth suits cost the same as crisis flamers. That's true. That's so fucking wild. I mean, they used to be like 30 points per model, which already sounds kind of high, but it is what it is. Let's make a Blades of Ultramar list, chance. Just reset my new recruit here. I think it feels to me like the Calgar Victrix brick is so good. Like, it's 410. You get 1,000,000,000 wounds with -1 to be wounded that are backing up Calgar. I feel like if you're playing Ultramarines in any form, I feel like you're going to take that. It seems to me to be so strong, I don't know why I would leave it at home. What was our thing? A Grey Knight Terminator squad. Also, compare those two data sheets, by the way. So the... Where did he go? This is the same cost as Victrix Honor Guard. They're T5 3 wounds instead of T4 -1 to be wounded 4 wounds, which is a better defensive profile. You get Deep Strike, and then you have like... I get you're 1 less attack, but you're higher strength. But you're a full less model. And your gun is somehow worse. It's twice as many shots, but it's no AP 1 damage instead of 2 damage. AP 1, 2 damage. Wild. Why are these models like 42 points a model? That's so stupid. Anyway, I don't know. Stupid Grey Knights. Get wrecked, Imperial Agents. That's what you get for having a dog with an OC characteristic. The thing I like here, I think I just like Vindicators. Well, plus you play Calgar on this because if you're playing this special Ultramarine detachment, then you're going to play Calgar anyway. I think I just like Vindicators here because I think T11, the -1 to wound puts T11 into a crazy spot. But the other thing you could do is just play Land Raiders. Is there a universe where we just rock like a bunch of Land Raiders? Is this the Land Raider detachment, chat? Did we find it? Because you can just play Firestorm Assault Force, essentially. Because you could just advance and charge every turn. And you could take Gilliman for Double Oath. Where's Gilliman? I'm just adopting my inner Mark Hurdle over here. And we're just like, what if it was more Land Raiders? Do we put anything in the Land Raiders? Like, you could do the normal, like, Grav devs, I guess. It's essentially the same. I think this detachment might strictly improve that list, by the way. The Mark Hurdle triple Land Raider list, I think, might just strictly get better. Because you can Devastator Doctrine like 2 turns in a row and then Assault Doctrine. Like, the turn where you're only sending in Calgar, you don't need Assault Doctrine because he just advances and does everything anyway. So you can stay in Devastator for longer. So we get better Storm of Fires. Oh, man. Now I just want to play like Storm of Fire combos all day. We could play like Incursor or Inceptors with Incursors. Because once they go to AP2 Ignore Cover, they go like insane. This attachment's really dumb. Why does it just... The more I think about it, the more silly things they want to do. So like you play Inceptors with Assault Bolters. You get them to hit on 2s with an Incursor squad. And then you shoot the Oath target and Storm of Fire them. They go to AP2 Ignore Cover, full reroll everything. You just fish for sustained 2s. And you average like 24 hits, 26 hits or something out of 18 shots. And then it's mostly wounding on 4s or maybe 5s, full rerolls. And it's putting everything on like a 5-up save. They actually do insane damage. Once you hit T11 or like T10 plus, they kind of fall off a little bit. But if you can hit anything you're wounding on 4s, so up to T9, they kill the universe. And then they're also like they're infantry. They can meteoric descent so that you can always get the combo online. You could also -1 to wound them. So it's 18 wounds at T6, -1 to be wounded. So that's like a combo. That's a little unit. That's a fun little unit. We take some Vindicators. We take some like Lancers, maybe? Do we take Lancers? We're down a little bit on utility right now. I feel like we want more Incursors if we want to like make our Oath go farther, and then we want some like aggro units like JPI or something. I keep losing them. There's too many data sheets here. There's too much going on. And then we can take like two. We're a little over 2 Lancers right now. We're in fact significantly over 2 Lancers. We're much higher than 2 Lancers than what I thought. So 1 Lancer and a Ministorum Priest, I guess. If we took, I don't know. I don't think I want a Land Raider that thing's a deliberate. Maybe the Inceptor squads are too much. Are the units in New Recruit? No, not quite. AOC is written in a way there is a data so change it fixes it to 1 shooting activation. Oh yeah. So thanks for pointing out that AOC has the original wording, chat. Literally every time an Armor of Contempt gets published, there's always someone who's like, "Oh, did you see? They reverted the Armor of Contempt change." No, it's in the balanced data slate. It hits every instance, even new ones. Every time. You guys are amazing. I love you. Maybe we take Predators, actually. I'm thinking about it. Are Predators the truth? A Predator with -1 to be wounded is actually kind of sick. Or like, I feel like it's Land Raiders, right? I feel like if we were to meme it up, it would be like Vindicators and or Land Raiders. So this list feels like a little bit more of a normal list. But what if we didn't do any of that, and all we did was put Land Raiders in our army? What could we do? I like the one-off. So here's the interesting thing. If we're double oathing and we have Devastator Doctrine every turn, the one-off Crusader is actually sick. Because you send him in first, because who cares? If you overcommit to kill a Land Raider Crusader, no one gives a shit. It's totally fine. But if you ever don't do that, it itself can actually output damage, because it's basically full rerolls against its oath target. It wounds everything on 5s, and it can be AP1 ignore cover, right? So this little fucker can get a bunch of work done. And then the question is, how aggro are we being? Because we could play Redeemers, which are expensive, or we could play more Godhammer patterns. The other thing too, I guess we can't like fully defensive this guy out with like -1 to wound and -1 AP on like from turn 1, right? On top of 1, if we just deploy him in the open, he's not going to tank the universe. He's just going to tank a bunch of shit, because like -1 to be wounded is crazy, depending on your opponent's offensive characteristic. But you could smoke in any case. But you can't turn Gilliman's free strat on until around to bottom of 1 if you're going second. So that's something to consider, I guess. I do like Redeemers. And then we play like... Here's playing a bunch of Intercessor squads, which is fun. I like maybe Sternguard veterans. Or just regular... Because Sternguard veterans for the full reroll thing. The little combo with Tigerius is really cute with them, because he shoots really hard. And then they give him wound rerolls. Uriel Ventress is also like kind of annoying. To be able to like send him in like down the mid board in order to mess with your opponent's like defensive stuff. It's actually kind of sweet. I don't know how we would use in a list composed entirely of land raiders. I don't know how he would use his teleport ability. You could use it to teleport in Marnia's Calgar, I guess. You would just lose a command point because you don't have him on the table turn 1. I think you play the little Tigerius combo with Sternguard veterans. The other one that he plays is the, what do you call them? So Devastator Centurions. I'm sure there's something interesting that we could find in here. Hellblasters, I think, get a little expensive if we want to like fully combo them. But that might be another thing we can do. Is like just start a big Hellblaster brick on the table. Because like once these guys shoot the oath target, they go insane. But it's like it's difficult. It's difficult to get enough of them in line of sight without like teleporting them around. I am obsessed with Land Raider chat. I do like big big tank. I do love big tank. Oh, Artivore's in chat. What's up, dude? How's it going, guys? Socials guys stopping in to say -1 to Redemptors go hard. I could see Redemptors. Redemptor, yeah. I mean, I get that. That tracks. All right, hear me out. Hear me out, chat. What do we what do we think? Can we make this guy work? T12 -1 to wounds, 24 wounds. Probably not. Almost certainly better to take many little guys rather than one big guy. Astrea's bad. Yeah. I think Astrea's is bad because you can't put it anywhere. It's the size of a fucking house. We did have some great success with Astreas in 9th edition, but that was because he was easier to maneuver, I think, in 9th edition maps. It's very difficult to move around in a 10th edition, I think. It would be tough. We're already basically there. I can see Redemptor Dreadnoughts. You can kind of like play them out in the open. I also just like Vindicators. I kind of feel like the correct answer is Vindicators, but I think Vindicators are the least spicy, most likely. Just ignore the WCW ruling. So no one... That ruling pisses me off. Well, first of all, it's really... I don't think it's... I mean, they rule whatever they want to rule. I'm not sure it's entirely 100% supported by the rules, but it is what it is. They also have never put it in writing anywhere. I've never seen that ruling. People just told me that's what they ruled. What do you mean? Why are you trying to transformatively change the entire game, but not actually write it on anything? Are you kidding me? That's the whole thing. A Storm Raven? Yeah, I like the Storm Raven idea as well. The Storm Raven also, like, awkwardly, it has a lower toughness characteristic, which means the -1 to wound goes harder, right? Because it affects more offensive profiles. The weird thing is, though, it's like, if I wanted to -1 to wound a Storm Raven, I think you just play Stormlance. Because it's -1 to hit and wound, and you get it all the time, right? It doesn't matter what your defensive profile is. So I think... The big benefit is being able to -1 to wound other stuff, right? And as long as you can stack that with more defensive stuff, it's a whole thing. 3 Redemptors and a Storm Raven. You do get to sit in Devastator Doctrine all game. It does. I guess like it goes pretty a long way to sort of circumvent the downside of Redemptors, which is that they're really slow. I guess the Storm Raven moves over than other stuff, right? So it is like relevant. And you can transport one of the Redemptors? All right, chat. I'm coming around to it. This feels like it should just be a Stormlands Task Force list. But I guess probably not. Do we even take other things? Let's see. So we can put... I kind of like the Centurion devs in the Storm Raven, right? Because you can carry 3 Centurions. And then you don't care that it can't charge out of disembarkation because they're going to shoot you. And you can always storm fire them for +1 AP. So the Grav Cannon build is actually very relevant, right? Because even against, there's 9 shots, probably full rerolls, right? Targeting a vehicle on an objective, they hit on 3s, rerolling, wound on 2s. And then they go to AP to ignore cover. So they should convert like almost all of their damage, right? They should convert probably 7 wounds through. At AP2, ignore cover, 3 damage each. And you can bail them out of the Storm Raven gunship after it moves 20. I'm curious what the higher upside is. Because you could get 3 last cannon shots plus the missiles. At AP4, ignore cover. But it's significantly lower attack volume, but it works against everything, not just vehicles. I'm very curious. Thunderhawk sauce with Ventress. A Thunderhawk? I guess that is true. The Thunderhawk with Ventress is cute. Thunderhawks are weird. So I actually here's while we're thinking about it, while we're talking about Thunderhawk gunships, there's been a weird thing in 10th edition for the entirety of the edition, and I actually think it was the case in 9th edition too, where a Thunderhawk gunship, if you play by the rules, which you should do, is basically totally unplayable because it never had a base listed. Oh, it still doesn't. Fucking sick, dude. Which meant in previous versions of the rules, it hull measured. So if you put it on a base, you were technically cheating. And if you hover moded it and started on the table, you couldn't ever go anywhere because it would have to parkour terrain. So you'd be like, all right, I'm gonna move 20, and then it hops 1 building, and then that's it, and it doesn't go anywhere. And it was basically totally unplayable. It has a unique base now. What does that mean? Oh, it's the Legion the Imperialis one that's teeny. No, here's a Thunderhawk gunship. An expert kit. But it doesn't fucking show a base. How big is the base supposed to be? It doesn't have one. Can't call it a unique base. Is there like a key that explains what that means anywhere? I don't think there is. Nope. Oh, some of the largest models are listed as unique. Such models do not fit on any Citadel base. We recommend you speak to the tournament organizer. Cool, man. All right. Sure. Okay. Okay, I see. They're like, figure it out yourself, idiot. We couldn't be bothered to list the base size for it. Honestly, Thunderhawk gunship, there's like a lot of situations in which the Thunderhawk gunship actually seems kind of playable. I think he would still probably die, but if you were able and allowed to put it on a table anywhere, it's probably like not the worst thing ever. It's definitely a huge meme, but like a meme in a fun way where you can win sometimes. Grey Knights get to use the landing gear. All right, well, we're back to this list. The Redemptor Dreadnought thing. Are we doing the Redemptor Dreadnought thing, chat? Here's the thing. I'm going to let other people do the Redemptor Dreadnought thing. I think this is probably the build, right? If we were to go, I like the Centurion Devastator squads getting delivered because you can Devastator Doctrine early. You can disembark the Redemptor Dreadnought, move the Stormraven gunship, drop the Centurions, advance all of it, and then you're putting like just so much beef in the middle of the table, right? It's crazy. But I want to play Land Raiders. How do we make this work with Land Raiders yet? Is it that the Land Raiders deliver Victrix Honor Guard? Is that where we're at? So like, I like the Crusader, the Instigator Crusader, because you send him up turn 1, your opponent has to fully activate into him, throw a bunch of reactive effects, which is super crazy. The other thing about the Crusader is that Calgar's unit can embark it, right? Calgar's unit is 10. Oh, he can embark any of the transports. Just kidding. So actually, yeah, reactive moves with Marnius Calgar is actually sick because you could like have your opponent fully activate into him, fail to kill him, or like threaten to fully activate into him. They move up to try to kill him, and then you just run into a Land Raider, and then you hop out later and do it again. That's actually super crazy. Potentially. I think I like... What other stuff is good with enhanced Storm of Fire? Because that feels like the big thing to me is that we can Devastator Doctrine 3 times. I guess we maybe don't want to drop Calgar into the transport now I'm thinking about it, because then you lose your Devastator Doctrine. Retrigger. So the goal is to use those up early, I guess. The interesting Storm of Fire stuff, there were the Inceptors we talked about earlier. Which, to be fair, we can we can bail out of a Land Raider too. I think the idea... Oh, man. I'm so Land Raider pilled here. I think that this whole thing where we take Inceptors is actually sick because we can construct a situation where the Inceptors can then themselves go into the Land Raider, right? Because a Land Raider holds 12 Inceptors or 6 Inceptors for some reason. And it's never really been explained why. I guess because they're just Gravis keyworded. They're both Gravis and Jump Pack keyworded, which means they're just worth 2. So you can get them all into a God Hand and Land Raider. So if you jump them next to a Land Raider and then fully combo them, you can hop back in after
$79 through Super Chat. Old Calgar can't lead new Victrix.
I think we play Redeemers. Because you can basically like force your opponent off the midboard, right? There's like no way that they can profitably engage in the middle of the table after you send a Crusader forward, right? Anything that goes into the middle of the table just gets vaporized by either Overwatches or reactive moves, right? Bucket of Steel Cable, old Calgar can't lead new Victrix. Sure he can. He is a chapter master that can join Company Heroes, which is the only requirements to join Victrix Honor Guard. But thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. How does Stormlance give -1 to hit and wound? It has a strat for flying units. It's any flying vehicle. Works on or it's any mounted or flying vehicle. So it works on your like Thunderwolf Cavalry or Storm Speeders or Thunderhawk gunships and Storm Ravens. It is ride hard. Mounted or fly vehicle. -1 to hit and wound. Which is, in fairness, lost my tab, better than -1 to hit or -1 to wound only sometimes. I'm almost over the Victrix honor guard here in this list. Maybe I'm over the 6-man. Although they're so good. I don't know if I want to be. I'm not over them. But I'm like, every time, it's like, if we're playing Land Raiders, it's just so expensive. Maybe we don't play Redeemers. Maybe we only play Godhammer patterns. Maybe that's the correct play. Also, the Crusader's good in Devastator Doctrine anyway, so we're probably fine with that. And that saves us a bunch of points. They're not as good, but they do shoot farther. So they're like good in a trading game. And then we take something for these guys to deliver, which I think is supposed to be Centurions. I think it's meant to be Centurions. I guess the Grav Cannon Centurion build is the best. Let's see. So, like, if you're AP2, ignore cover on a Centurion Devastator squad, right? And plus you shoot missile launchers, right? And let's assume you're not shooting your Oath target. So the missiles are 9/3 D3 damage, ignore cover. You shoot at an enemy vehicle, and so you're averaging 6 shots from the Centurions. You probably hit 5, wound 2. You should do like 3-ish damage, right? Assuming you're saving on 5s. The Grav Cannons would probably hit like 8, wound, call it 6, and they save 2 of those. So you do 12. So you're doing like 16 damage to a vehicle on average with just the Centurion Devastators. If you take las cannons instead of the Grav Cannons, let's assume you get unlucky and you hit 2, but they don't save because you're AP4 ignore cover, which means you're averaging only 9 damage through, but it works on anything, is the difference. And it's longer range. So here's the question, chat. If we are delivering Centurions with our Land Raiders, is it better to take this thing that dumpsters vehicles, or is it better to take the thing that's a little good against everything? That's, I guess, the open question. The other thing, too, here, I guess, is that these guys are good against, like, heavy infantry and stuff, which the las cannons aren't. Nerf Imperial Agents. It is important, for sure. Imperial Agents too strong, definitely. I'm going to put Grav Cannons on these because it's cool. I also think that there is an argument to do this Inceptor thing, or this Inceptor thing, because that's also very cool. This does require incursors, but we do need utility anyway. I think we want intercessors for the back line, and then that's all our points. Maybe the Inceptor. I think the Inceptors are probably too expensive, honestly. Let's cut them. Take scouts here instead. And do the Tigurius list? The Tigurius thing? With Sternguard? Because you could also Storm of Fire Tigurius. That's probably fine, because he goes to AP3 ignore cover. He starts at 6/2/2, 2d6 hazardous. So he goes to 6/3/2 ignore cover, and he can full reroll into the Oath target. If you put him in Sternguard. And then we get a second Intercessor squad. And we have 20 points left. Which means the Scout squad could turn into something. This is probably fine. The Scout squad could turn into... Or the second Intercessor squad could turn into JPI, I guess. I do like double Intercessors, but I think we turn them into JPI. This definitely feels like something. You can also disembark the jump pack Intercessors, too, for extra movement. That's certainly one of the lists of all time. That's pretty neat. All right. I'm interested to see if the Land Raiders end up being the truth. I do think that having the capacity, because, like, realistically, anything that goes to the middle hopefully will just die, right? To the shooting, and we also have Gilliman plus Calgar. And so, like, hopefully you're just gonna overwhelm the center. So the idea, I guess, is that like we don't necessarily need Redeemers as much because hopefully we're just gonna be putting so much pressure in the middle that it's fine. The standard Land Raiders are cheaper and they let you engage at long range. So if your opponent like extends something out a little too far, you can just dump 8 las cannon shots with like rerolls and +1 win into it, which seems pretty okay. I don't know. It's definitely a meme. I don't know if mass Land Raider is the way to go, but this is probably the way to play it. Is this detachment? I think you just get so much utility out of it. I wonder if there's maybe the extra CP is like so big. Well, actually, all right. Well, let me think about this. If we were to try to push the Land Raider meme as hard as it could go, you probably cut Gilliman and a utility unit, and you get 2 more Land Raiders. Because you can't stack Gilliman with the Calgar buff anymore, right? And you always want Calgar to be on the table so that you can do your free things. I guess Gilliman's CP buff is better than Calgar's because it stacks with discarding tactical secondaries. So it's probably fine. But we could be playing 5 Land Raiders, which does feel good. And I think, especially if they're like Redeemers, you don't necessarily need the oath on everything. Oh, chat. Maybe we are playing all the Land Raiders. So we cut that and we cut, I don't know. Something. And we take like Redeemers. How many Redeemers is too many Redeemers, chat? Can we find space for 2 more Redeemers? We need to cut 100. Oh, we need to cut like 200 points. I don't know where we find that. Or we cut only a little points and we fit another Land Raider. Still 150. Which is Tigurius, I guess? I feel like we're too lost in the sauce. The first version was better. The version with the Gilliman was probably stronger. That's okay. Are you playing with the rule of only 1 activation at a time? Oh, it sounds like that is the rule, right? Like if that's what they ruled at WCW, then that's what the rule should be. But I want to know how they fucking worded it because I don't know. I've never seen it before in my life because they didn't write it down anywhere. So I don't know. A captain with student of the Codex enhancement lets you reactive move both the squad and Katos. Oh yeah. They did rule single activation. I think UKTC ruled single activation because WCW also did that. But they never publicized their player pack, so we don't know any of their custom rulings. There's just one grainy screenshot from the head judge that somebody has from a Discord message. Just like, cool. I guess we're basing like a hugely transformative ruling on this one Discord screenshot. I love that for me. This is truly a billion-dollar game, chats. Made by a company that makes hundreds of millions a year. And they are ruling for they're making transformative rulings for the entire game that they will not write down in any of their FAQs. They even just updated their FAQs. They didn't put anything in there. We could have just done it here. Nope. Get wrecked. Yeah, the Grey Knights are stand-ins for Victrix Honor Guard because they're both worth 210. Just so that we can do the points correctly. That's the only difference. This definitely seems like a list. I think this is probably reasonable. I don't think that this probably ends up being actually kind of good. I think that the combination of mass T12 with access to -1 to wound and Calgar is huge, right? Like Calgar's unit being so big and difficult to kill You know, you're 50% more wounds than the company hero squad, and everything has a better save. So that unit's like you're almost most armies, like assuming you're punching through AOC and stuff, a lot of armies won't kill that efficiently. You can also, again, in like the mirror match, for example, they oath your Victrix, and you can still -1 to wound them, because then you're -2 to wound against their whole army. So I feel like the aggressive, like just a bunch of big idiot vehicles works so well with that unit specifically. And then they're just like a super good late game counterpunch. I think that's going to be super disgusting. I'm not looking forward to fighting that. Just imagine the company hero Calgar, but he's literally 50% harder to kill. Yeah. So I think that is going to be a staple, whether or not it's with the Redemptor Dreadnoughts we just talked about, or with like other big tanks or Vindicators. I think you could go back to the old Gladius Task Force build where you just play Vindicators and Ballistic Dreadnoughts and shit. And that's almost certainly fine. Oh, you still have the dumb Gravis Captain. You can just play that fucker. Nothing changed with him, right? You can just play that guy. Why aren't we playing that idiot? I forgot about that guy. Yeah, what's like a build that's running like the old Vindicator build? What does that look like nowadays? So if we cut all this shit out, this is the core basically, and then we take like the dumb Gravis dude with the stupid enhancement. That they didn't like add a restriction to that, right? It's just there. I totally forgot that like they didn't change any enhancement. Yeah, so you can just still take that guy. That's so nuts. And then you play like all the Vindicators, and now your Vindicators get access to +1 to wound, or -1 to be wounded. It's like Vindicator, 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 Calgar, Gilliman. You take like do you take the Lieutenant and Combi Lieutenant? Probably, right? And then for backline shooting, it used to be Ballistic. I guess like Ballistic Dreadnoughts, you feel pretty good with it with the -1, right? Because they can be -1 into a 2+ save. They're actually really hard to kill. Or you can play Lancers for just 10 more points. And then we have another 150 to spend on utility shit. Which is like, we have an Intercessor for the back line. We could take like a Scout squad and an Incursor squad. No, we're just slightly over. If we took Scouts, we'd have a 65 pointer, which is an Invader. We're just back, Chance. Oh, we're back. We're so back. Annihilators. I do like the idea of Annihilators too. They are cheap as fuck. The difference is that I think a lot of times what we want to do is oath something for the Vindicators to shoot and then something for Calgar to charge, right? And the nice thing about the Lancers is that they actually don't need oath. So I don't know. There's probably some optimization to do. The Lancers will just like have a floating reroll, and they'll probably convert one laser destroyer shot through. You can also, if you're like just holding up Devastator Doctrine for like basically the whole game, you can Storm of Fire them to go to AP5 ignore cover, which is the point at which they start shooting through 2+ saves. So even if you're like a Tyrannifex or something, they just convert all the way through your defensive stats. That gets really dangerous when that happens. Captain Artemis instead of the Invader. Yeah, I get that's also fine. Artemis is okay. I feel like you kind of want a Calidus Assassin sometimes. I sort of feel like the Calidus Assassin is way, its stonks are way up. But the scout squad, losing the scout squad would be unfortunate. I don't know. Some stuff you could do. I totally forgot that they had the stupid fucking 2+ save enhancement. I totally forgot about that. That's so funny. Deathwatch have anti-infantry 2+ that. I mean, you're also like you're winning on 3s with most Deathwatch stuff anyway. I guess like their heavy bolters are winning on 4s or whatever, but a lot of their stuff is winning on 3s with high AP. Like Melta, I think is actually going to be pretty okay here, especially if you can get like Melta with rerolls. Because most of that unit doesn't have an invuln save, or right. So like high AP is just going to punch through. So you're talking about like an Indomitor kill team shooting them, and they're like, yeah, you probably kill most of them, regardless. The downside is that it requires your anti-tank shooting to kill an infantry unit, right? Which is pretty wild. All right, chat. Manthip and Impulsor shooting the Victrix guns with firing deck boosted by exemplary stat. Oh, that's a good idea too. Who's like the punchy? I mean, it's probably Sicarius, right? And he's just got a plasma pistol, like a cool plasma pistol. What's like the punchiest Ultramarine character? Who can attach to that unit? I wasn't even considering that, but like the firing deck plays are actually sick. You're totally right. Maybe that's another direction you could go into. Is like you could just firing deck out, like Hellblasters out of those things, and you're just Devastator Doctrine permanently. You're basically just playing better Firestorm Assault Force. Ultramarines are so good. They just swapped they just like took like Salamander's whole thing and just jammed it into their own detachment. You're like, what's up, guys? We're playing fucking Firestorm now. Except we have fallback and shoot on everything. Our +1 to wound is better than yours. And like we have -1 to be wounded on tanks. It's just better Firestorm. You could even do it on Infernus Marines. You can play Infernus Marines with AP2. You don't get +1 strength, I guess, which is downside. Strength 6 is a big cutoff. But that's fucking hilarious. I wasn't even considering that, but now that you'd say it, that's totally right. That's totally fair. You could totally play weird firing deck shit. Yeah, the Sicarius unit shooting out the top of an Impulsor is actually sick, right? Because you scout the Impulsor up, they shoot 12 2-damage shots, and then you can rip out 22 from the Impulsor. That's kind of neat, Chance. I like that. A lot of people are taking guns the Impulsor. Yeah, you do it in Salamander's lists for sure. Because the Firestorm +1 strength is like so big on that thing. Otherwise, it kind of requires that it shoots the Oath target, but the +1 strength shooting at other Space Marines, you can win them on 3s or 2s if they're Oathed. So you just like dump a million saves onto them. And you're already trying to get to win 12 for your Infernus shots. So you always take the top guns on that guy. In this case, I feel like you might do as well. Now that we're talking about it, which is cool. Just delete a Berserker brick. Yeah, so you're like, do Victrix hit on 2s? Are they 2+ ballistic skill too? With their guns? They fucking are, bro. Their gun is like so legit. In fairness, I do like that. It would have been boring if they were just superior Blade Guard veterans and they were just like, oh, I have a Storm Shield. I do like that they just get a reasonable gun. So you shoot 12 AP1 2 damage out the top, plus 8 sustain 1 AP1 1 damage, or it goes to AP2, right? These guns go to AP2. So if you're shooting the Oath target, you should 100% convert hit rolls, and then you wound 8 times if you're winning on 3s, and then they save on 5s, so they should make 3-ish. So you kill like 5 dudes, 5 Space Marines with just the bolt carbines, and then you shoot 22 off the top that wound on 3s. So you're like 18-ish hits, like 12 wounds. Just saving on 4s, you kill another 3 guys with the little guns. Yeah, they kill 8 Space Marines if they're oathed. With an oath and a strat in a tank that's built for, that's like with the anti-infantry loadout. I don't know how often you're going to get the chance to get a full impulsor activation into a unit of more than 5 Space Marines, but at that point, it does feel like you should be doing some serious damage, especially because that unit's like 400 points. So I don't know. And then you're about to lose your tank and get, rapid disembarked or whatever. So that's pretty sweet. With the Decimus kill team getting the Gravis keyword. Oh, is that what they got changed? We talked about that when they got released, and we were like, the cool thing about this unit is that it goes into impulsors. Did they change that so they don't? Get absolutely fucked. I saw that they updated the keywords, but I did not see exactly what they were. Where the fuck is that unit, by the way? Are they at the bottom? They are. Yeah, one guy has grab his keyword. Yeah, so they cannot go into impulsors anymore until the unit's dead, right? Until the grab his guy's dead, which is sad. And as somebody pointed out as well, I think something I got wrong when I was talking about these guys is I was like, well, the cool thing is that they're toughness 6 because they have a toughness 6 guy in the unit, but because they're kill team keyworded, they actually check majority toughness. So they're not toughness 6 until they lose 4 intercessors, which sucks. So this unit's actually kind of trash. It's actually super bad, but it is what it is, I guess. Oh, well. Sad times. Are you allowed to leave a model at home? No, you can only take fewer than the maximum if it's a range of models. So, for example, like, I don't think the kill teams are good examples. Oh, they are. So, for example, if you wanted to, you could pay for a full Spectrus kill team and take only 3 infiltrators, right? Because this is all a range. So we could take 3 infiltrators, or we could take 4 infiltrators. We could take up to 9 infiltrators and then leave 1 guy at home because it's a range of options. If the unit size is set, you have no options, right? I have no chance to take less than 3 Deathwatch veterans, because you have to. But even then, like, why would I buy a unit where I pay a bunch of points for a single, like, probably 30-point Gravis model and then not play the Gravis model? At that point, I should just play a different unit. They're sort of not very good. I don't know. Glad they didn't delete Deathwatch veterans. Yeah, I'm glad too. I'm glad that every knee-jerk reaction to this unit being released was wrong, because everyone was like, "Oh boy, the Deathwatch is so cooked, they're not going to be able to take veterans anymore." And like, are you sure? Turns out, yeah, you're just regular guys. We'll see what 11th edition brings. Who knows if the regular veterans are going away? But I don't know. I feel like they would need to release more kits, because right now everything's just a kit with an upgrade sprue on it. So, Decimus or 6 Victrix. But listen, you could have some Gravis guys that don't do anything for you. Wouldn't that be cool? Isn't that cool and fun and cool? You get to have an Infernus heavy bolter. Wow, what a time to be alive. All right, chance. Do we have anything else we want to talk about today in regards to these new releases? I think that's all I have to talk about. But yeah, otherwise, I'm going to be live in, looks like it's ticking down to 3 hours now. I'm going to be live with Jensen. We're going to be playing some Orcs versus Demons over on the YouTube channel. I might, if you stick or not on the YouTube channel, this is the YouTube channel. On the Twitch channel, we're going to be playing. If you stick around on the channel, I might play some Ultramarines afterwards. We'll play with some of the new releases and stuff. Maybe we can play a bunch of Land Raiders or Stormlance with a bunch of guys. I don't know yet. I haven't decided. Or we just play a regular list with Vindicators and shit. I don't know. Kind of excited. Consensus on the new Space Wolf stuff? basically unplayably bad. The new Wolf Scouts are fucking horrible. They are wildly too expensive. I think if they were 20 points less, they might be viable in some circumstances if you squint. And also there's an argument to be made that they can't even do actions, which is not good. I think that's probably wrong. And it will hopefully needs a clarification because it's ambiguous, but because they have an OC0 model in the unit, what the OC characteristic of the unit is between 1 and 0, but if it's 0, they can't do actions. If it's 1, they're fine. Miss. What a miss. Thoughts on how to fix Custodes competitively? Great question. I don't know. Bring back 10-mans. Custodes are in a weird spot. I think, honestly, if they like increase their base movement characteristic, one thing I think about Custodes that's really problematic is that they're not survivable enough to break cover, and you don't want to make them survivable enough to be able to like sit in the open and just absorb your entire army shooting, because I think that's not fun for anyone. But one thing that they oftentimes end up doing is having to try to run out to engage with your opponent, but being too slow to do so. So if you don't have a blade champion, you can't get anywhere, right? So you're kind of required to take blade champions. I think I'd like either for like characters to buff their movement. So like either you can advance and charge, or your movement character is higher, or you just give like you make a move 8 or something. I think that would help quite a bit. Make the custodians more viable. Also, they're supposed to be superhumanly fast. It's a little weird that they're the same speed as like a guardsman. A guardsman's usually faster because they get move. So like I don't know. That's probably a way to do it. 2 damage on swords would help. Yeah, I can see that for sure. Cool. Yeah, anyway, chat. That's it for me. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me. I will see you over on Twitch in a little bit, and I'll see you tomorrow, and we can talk about all the new and spicy things happening over on Reddit. So I'll see you then. Cheers, everyone. Keep it classy, folks. Have happy wargaming, and I'll see you in a bit.